Okay, so welcome to the evening edition of the virtual info sessions for the Career Pathway Certificate programs. I appreciate you joining us to find out more about these short-term trainings. So Career Pathway Certificates are specific short-term trainings designed to be 6 months or less, varying from 6 weeks to up to as long as 6 months. These are options that lead either directly into employment, or they all mostly have options that you can go into continuing education in a diploma or associate's degree related program at NICC. These are specifically designed to address acute shortages in the middle skilled kind of area in the Dubuque or Northeast Iowa area. The curriculum has been designed with a joint effort between NICC staff, area companies, and community partners. And really looking for specific, what are the needs of the company, what are the needs of the employees they're looking for. And the certificates that are designed as a result are connected to diploma programs, as I mentioned, allowing you to earn college credits while you're doing these programs. They're basically designed for anyone who's interested in expanding their skill set, doing a career change, just getting it done fairly quickly with less expense than doing a traditional 2 or 4 year college degree, although that is an option to continue into. So the process, and this is just kind of the basics of it. There's a lot more detail. If you have questions, feel free to ask. The process of applying for these programs, first of all, you'd start with meeting with one of us. These success coaches here on the call are examples. There are more in the district as well. You'd meet with one of us. Right now, meeting maybe looks a little bit different than it would at other times, but we have Zoom and other options available. And you'd start with some intake paperwork. So it's kind of your basic application to your details. Looks a little bit like a job application. And overviewing the program. So if you already know a program you're interested in, or you're not quite sure, kind of looking at the different options, how long they are, what's exactly involved, where they take place, talking about the type of instruction, those things. And then the next step is a gap application. And that maybe sounds like a strange concept. What's a gap application? But it's basically the application for tuition assistance to get that funding. And along with that, there's just some documentation to verify the household income. As well as an assessment. So again, we don't use the word test because it's an assessment to get an idea of what your math and reading levels are. And this is required to be eligible for that some of the state funding that is available. So as a result of that, if your scores show it, we would refer you to a tutor who would help you specifically focused on the class. So specific math for construction, for example. Reading, for example, in childcare, when there's maybe quite a bit of reading on different cases and things like that. So it's specifically designed at one-on-one tutoring, if applicable. Then you kind of finish up the process with an interview. That sounds maybe a little formal and scary, but it's an interview with us, with the coach, and then maybe either another NICC staff or a partner, someone who would be offering employment potentially, or offering on-the-job training during the class, someone who would give you an idea of what the industry looks like. And the interview is really specific to the program. So, if you're interested in construction, we ask you, about your experience in construction and give you some ideas about, just to see if you're a good fit for construction. And if that's something that makes you really nervous, we do have mock interview preparation available. So you can work with your coach to practice before the real interview. And then we do work closely with disability services provided through the credit program at NICC to give you a plan of action for accommodations for reading or technology needs or anything like that, especially if you had an IEP in high school. And then there are info sessions similar to this one, or ideally an in-person one, that are specific to the type of class or industry that you're looking at going into. So career pathway certificates come in a variety of different types. We're going to go through them in more detail, but here you can see it's everything from advanced manufacturing, getting your hands dirty kind of things, to all the way down to health sciences, getting your hands dirty in a very different way, but in nursing or childcare, different things. So there's quite a variety of them, and we're going to get into those details. So we're going to start with advanced manufacturing. So I will hand it over to Jordan, who is muted.
And I was muted.
There we go.
Oh, man. The two programs on the screen here are kind of mainstays within advanced manufacturing, two pretty different programs. The MIG welding is something that's attuned specifically to what John Deere needs. And it's, at the end of the course, the goal is that you'd be able to pass the John Deere weld test specifically. And most of our graduates honestly go to different employers, but that's how we built the program, kind of coming out of, the Great Recession, needing a lot more advanced manufacturing staff and welders specifically. That's how we built the program. And it's a program we're running pretty constantly right now. Despite COVID-19, we are running 2 different GMA MIG welding classes, one in the evening, and we're constantly offering that class in the evening. Every 5 months or so, that class is being offered, and then an accelerated version that you can do very quickly, again with sort of in concert with John Deere, in just 6 weeks. And so that's a program you can do in the evenings or the daytimes, kind of depending on what works with your schedule and what our offerings are. It does transfer into the credit program, so you'd be able to transfer in a number of college credits if you complete the career pathway certificate, and then you decide to continue and learn stick welding and TIG welding and other forms. If you want to get the full year diploma at NICC, you would have quite a few credits already knocked out if you complete our welding GMA certificate program. It's a very popular program. Next one starts here at the end of summer. CNC, we're always looking for CNC operators. It wouldn't be so much programming, you touch on that, but a lot of precision measurements and a lot of learning how to enter the codes to run those precision cutting machines. So very technical, a lot of computer work here. We're looking for slightly higher math scores for CNC, but again, slightly higher wages than welding. It's a little bit more specialized, and the next class is August 11th in Piasta, and it's a class that we offer across the district. You can see another one comes here in September in Cresco, and that's a class we run at least 2-3 times a year across the district. So they're pretty similar in how they're traditionally offered, usually at night. Locally here, they're out in the Piasta IT building, and they're generally 3-4 months long. And so we're constantly running both of those programs.
Excuse me.
Oh, you're good.
There we go. So Josh, you want to cover this one?
Sure, thank you, Shara. Jordan just did a nice job explaining the computer numerical control operator course, as well as the GMA welding that happens at the Piasta campus. The CNC course that he talked about happens at our Cresco, NICC Cresco Center as well. But we do have kind of a shorter basic welding certificate program out of the Cresco Center. You can see on the screen, it starts the next class, September 14th, with the requirement of a high school diploma or high school equivalency diploma, and just a requirement that folks need to be 18 by the end of the course. So it is gas metal arc welding, that MIG welding Jordan was talking about. It's 104 hours of training, evening class as well. So I know you guys are interested in culinary and phlebotomy, but maybe you have someone in mind for CNC or welding. Feel free to send them our way.
Thank you. All right, and another advanced manufacturing section.
Excellent. And I was talking a little bit about CNC and how that that's sort of a specialized skill set. These two are also very specialized, particularly the Intro to Industrial Maintenance. We have in our credit program, and this is another program that would transfer in for college credit. If you complete our Intro to Industrial Maintenance Career Pathway Certificate, you'd have a number of college credits already done. If you wanted to continue in our 1 or 2 year program on the credit side of the college, employers are calling me, asking me if I know people. This happens at least once a week. If I've got any graduates from our program that are willing or need a job, and the answer is currently no. All 4 of our graduates in the last program had jobs immediately after they were done because it's in such high demand. One of our students literally started making $30 per hour. He had a little bit of maintenance experience, but he was a young kid. He was under the age of 21, and here he was taking a job in Iowa City at $30 per hour. So if you're looking for something that is specialized, where there's going to be very much a shortage of workers within the industry, Intro to Industrial Maintenance would be a really good place to start. Hydraulics, pneumatics, you'd be working on a lot of factory equipment in the Dubuque area, very specialized skill set there. Industrial sewing is definitely an interesting and niche program. Our main employer right now would be Right Height locally, but there are other employers that need sewing candidates who can do heavy-duty jobs. Think couch cushion covers, think big ornate purses, not just clothing or fabric, but thicker material, bigger jobs, industrial application of fabric to various materials. The Intro to Industrial Maintenance, like CNC and welding locally, is over here in Piasta. The next class here is in September. The industrial sewing is unique. It happens at our Dubuque Center, and only our Dubuque Center downtown. We've had a sewer with 25 to 30 years of experience teaching that class for us. She always does a very good job. And that's actually starting here at the end of this month, July 27th. The next time we'll run that will probably be in early 2021, but it's a class we're always eager to run. It's a specialized skill set, and we do have employers constantly calling and looking for industrial sewers too. Someone from the western edge of Nebraska called me the other day and asked if I had anyone I could send, and they tried to sell me on how beautiful their little town was because they were very eager for industrial sewers. And so that's a unique program that I would plug to. All of those are advanced manufacturing. All of those do require the HSED, like Josh mentioned. I'm glad Josh mentioned that. I'd forgotten that. We really want that high school completion by the time you're through that program or enter the program. We want to get you employed, and typically employers in these fields want that high school diploma. So that's why we require that. But we do have, HSED classes at NICC. So if you know anyone who is wanting to do both, go do advanced manufacturing and still needs their high school diploma, both can be done at the same time. We can help folks work on both simultaneously.
All right, thank you, Jordan. All right, we're transitioning to construction, and that's Samara. She may need to unmute.
Thank you, Shar.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to talk about career pathways in our construction technology program. The first one is our building construction program. This is a 97 hours of training and is completed within 3 months. A high school diploma or a high set is also required, and students must be 18 by the end of the program. Credits from completing this building construction program will transfer to the building trade diploma program. The next class will be starting September 23rd in Piasta, as well as our Kalmar campus. We actually just had a class finish up, and students are in the process of moving forward into finding employment. And we also have a class that just started actually this past Monday. So we're constantly offering the construction classes. So the next one is our construction equipment operator. This is 91 hours of training and is completed within 5 weeks. A high set or high school diploma is also required. Students must be 18 by the end of the program. A driver's license, clean driving record, and a drug screen is also required. The next class is scheduled to start on September 23rd at our Piasta campus. So this one is our dual construction program. This is a component of both of the building construction as well as the equipment operator. This is 137 hours of training and is also completed in 3 months. The next class is scheduled to start on September 23rd in our Piasta campus. Shara, would you like to talk a little bit about our Fuller Mound Foundations partnership?
Yes, thank you. So Four Mounds is a local company. It's actually a park, a public park that is managed by the Gronin Properties, and they offer a partnership with us for the students in this class called Earn and Learn. So the on-the-job training hands-on lab at the end of the class is an opportunity to get more experience on a job site, usually in a home that's being renovated, to actually get experience of all the things that you learned in the classroom with the instructor right there alongside you. And it's actually paid at a decent rate of $12 an hour while you're doing those hours. So it's a really good opportunity to do what we call Earn and Learn. We have multiple opportunities for Earn and Learn throughout different programs that we're always trying to build more. So if anyone is interested in either the dual or the building construction, it does have these 40+ hours of paid on the job training.
Thank you.
All right, Samari, I think you're continuing, or is this Josh?
Josh.
All right.
All right, so just a question I have for you guys. The Four Mounds that you just brought up, is that only for the building construction or dual equipment operator? Are there any other CPCs where they partner with us as of now? Sorry, just curious.
It is specifically for the building construction program. So it's part of the hands-on construction.
All right, thank you. Let me get back to my slide here. Kind of going along with the idea of, heavy equipment operator, we offer 2 different types of CDL classes for folks to get their Class A CDL. You'll notice on the screen that we kind of have a shorter training that's about 80 hours long. That is for someone who, maybe they've grown up driving a manual truck, or they backed a boat into the lake, or, they've driven some vehicles around the farm and whatnot. I'd say it's for someone that has a little bit of experience. It's a little quicker training. And you can see on the screen that our next training will be August 11th at Helmer, Piasta, or online. It's a program that we're kind of adapting like many others with COVID and whatnot. So the semi-truck driving career pathway certificate is much longer, 3 times as long, and there's a lot more seat time. There's a lot more actual training with someone in the cab of the truck with you. So it kind of depends on your comfort level and, just how much driving experience you have, maybe which class is right for you, if you need a little more help or not. So both programs require, as it shows on the screen, that students earn their commercial learner's permit, their CDL commercial learner's permit prior to class. We can help with that as well in terms of, working through that process and whatnot. You'll notice some other requirements: a DOT medical card, DOT drug and alcohol screening with negative results. And that's, similar to what was said earlier about another CPC. That's just to make sure that you're set, you're ready to go after this class. We want to make sure that you have a driving record and you have what you need to be successful and get employment after you take the class. So those are just some requirements you need for the CDL.
All right. So, Mike, this one is for you.
The Business and Hospitality Career Pathway Certificates, we have 3 of them here. The first one, Culinary Foundations. We have 82 hours of training in 7 weeks. It's coming up here at the end of September, so we got a class starting relatively soon. I think McKenna earlier mentioned that she was interested in culinary school. I'm happy to tell you that the class, I think, is really interesting because it's held, the actual classroom itself is held in Masonic Temple's kitchen. So it's kind of down towards the library downtown their area. And they have a nice kitchen for people to work with and get hands-on experience in. And I think that's a great way to start. And you also learn from people called, their business called Life's a Feast, catering service. And if you look them up, they're on Facebook and they have a nice little page. Check those guys out. So you really do get professional, assistance working with that program there. Second one is customer service. You can see that has 32 hours of training in 6 weeks. The next class coming up in spring 2021. Just because the class is a ways out yet does not mean that, if you're interested, you should still act on this, because that way you can kind of get the ball rolling and get into that class. And then the last one is childcare, and it has 118 hours of training. You have 16 hours of observation, and that's a 4-month class. And the credits, the advantage with this one is that you can see that credits can transfer to an early childhood diploma. So there's a lot of options there with this, because if you want to kind of move on, then you've already kind of got your foot in the door, not only in work, but then also in the college itself to try to move on. So there's a couple of advantages there. And the next class starts really soon. So if you're interested in childcare, definitely check that out. Also, the Culinary Foundations, before I forget, we do training for the front of the house and the back of the house. So we do a little bit of customer service training with that as well. That's advantageous for anybody who does this program, because then even if they can get into other parts of the culinary service field as well, with the customer service aspect with that. So.
Yes, and I can vouch for the students do come out with good talent, because I enjoyed the last meal, that sounds rather dark, but the meal that they kind of culminated with at graduation last year, and it was very professional, exceptional, and one of them was very right up there with some of the European foods I've tried. So it was exceptional. So you're really getting some quality training there. And yeah, we do some soft skills, customer service as well. So it's a very well-rounded program. Childcare is also one that has an earn and learn option with it. Once you get to a certain point in the program, about a month in, you have the minimum requirements to start working at entry level, and we have some contacts we could offer to see if there's employment opportunities while you're still in the class. So that's just another one that does have the earn and learn. All right, we're going to go to information technology with Samaria. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you. All right, so the information technology, we have 4 of those listed. So the first one is our data analytics. That is a 30 hours of training and is offered in 8 weeks. The next class is scheduled to start on September 5th in Dubuque. The next one is our web application bootcamp. This is a 60 hours of training and is also completed in 16 weeks. We have an introduction to coding. This is offered online only, and then students who may do well or think that they want to continue can move forward into the coding certificate program, which is also offered online.
All right, thank you. I think before we jump into health sciences, and I know that we do have somebody who's interested in phlebotomy, I just wanted to look at the questions so we don't get too jumbled up at the end with too many questions. So 1 or 2 of them are about funding. So we will come back to that again at the end. And another question is, what if I try a program and after a few weeks I find out it's too difficult for me? Could I do multiple CPCs? Could I change in the middle of the path? Maria, do you want to try to tackle that one for us?
Can you read that question again? I'm sorry.
So what if I try a program and after a few weeks I find out it's too difficult for me? Could I do multiple CPCs?
If it's too difficult, what we do, we have an IET tutor. So what we would do is connect a student with the IET tutor to work in the areas that the student is struggling with. And the IET tutor will also remain with the student throughout the course just to ensure the success. So again, if a student's ever struggling, we do have that resource available, and we can also connect the student to with the disability coordinator as well for assistance.
Okay, thank you. So let's continue with health sciences for now.
All right, so first we're going to focus on our certified nurses aide. This is an 80 hours of training and is completed in 6 weeks. Currently, we're only offering it as a hybrid format, which is only a lecture and is done online. Labs and clinicals will be scheduled at a later date face-to-face. We do offer state testing twice per month in Dubuque and in Kalmar. Our next class is scheduled to start on July 27th in Dubuque and also available throughout the district. Students must be 18 to enroll and also complete a background check. Passing with a C or higher fulfills prerequisites for various health sciences programs at NICC. We also have a partnership with Stonehill. So what Stonehill would do is they will hire students as technicians, and then upon completion of the state testing, the student will be hired as a CNA and be paid a higher wage.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I think Samara just misspoke. You can be 16 to enroll in this one. It's one of the exceptions where it's not 18. So this is 16 to work as a CNA. You have to be 16 at the time that the class finishes in order to do the state testing. So that is one of the programs that you can be under 18. All right, so continuing to the next slide of health sciences.
Okay. And our second one is pharmacy technician. This is a third-party vendor with rolling enrollment. This course is independent study, and students are allowed 6 months to complete. At the end of the course, a PTCB exam is required in order to pursue employment, and there is an additional cost of $150 for that PTCB examination in order to go on the state registry, the Iowa State Registry. The next one is our phlebotomy technician. This course is 180 hours of training, which includes 60 hours of classroom, as well as 120 hours of clinicals. Students will need to have their high school diploma or HiSED, and they must be 18 to enroll. Background checks and drug screens is also required. We do require students to do shadow shifts, at least 2. We are partnered with various facilities, so Mercy, Finley, and I believe the Grand River Center are also those places where students can contact before the class and get those shadow shifts complete, just to make sure that they have an overview of what the phlebotomy technician is about, and they are successfully will enroll into the class. ASCP certificate examinations also required for employment. That is an additional cost. The next class is scheduled to start on August 17th in Dubuque. Our last one is our emergency medical technician. This class is 132 hours of training and is completed in 4 months. Mandatory orientation is required, and there is an additional cost of $379, which covers scrubs, your EMT jacket, different lab fees, and your books. Students must be 17 to enroll and 18 to take the EMT test upon completion. Pacific CPR certificate is required prior to enrollment, and if you are interested, we will let you know exactly what CPR certification that you will need to take. Credits from this program will transfer to the Associates of Science programs. The next class is scheduled to start on August 20th in Piasta as well as Kalmar.
Before we move on, Samari, we have a question. Can you tell us a little bit more about the job shadow or the shadow shifts? When do those occur? When do those need to be completed?
We require students to complete the shadow shift before they're even enrolled into the program, just so they are knowledgeable of what the expectations of a phlebotomy technician is. So you will be following a certified technician for a couple hours. There is some pre-requirement documents that students need to have before connecting with the facilities to register for the shadow shifts. And like I said, we do have the partnership with Mercy, Finley, and the Grand River Center, so I'll be more than happy to kind of facilitate that, getting the students connected for the shadow shift.
Okay, and we have another question, I think regarding phlebotomy. Yes, can you tell me more about the ASCP certificate required for phlebotomy?
So the ASCP certificate is basically a certification to certify that you completed the pharmacy technician, and it also allows the students to go on a state registry.
Okay. Any other questions right now, either about phlebotomy or going back to culinary?
For phlebotomy, really quick, actually, I don't know a ton about that test. Do all the students simply take the test at the very end of the class?
They do.
Okay. Do they have to pay anything for it additional, or is it included?
There is an additional fee, but I'm not for sure exactly what that cost is. We can definitely look into it and get back to the student.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Either you can unmute or type into the box. Okay, that's fine. We can come back to questions in a bit again. All right, so we've talked about the details of all of our different programs. There's many more details, of course, that we can answer with you one-on-one. Just want to mention something called Opportunity Dubuque. So this would be specific to programs that are offered in the Dubuque and Piasta area, not in the north part of the district. But any of those career pathway certificates that you saw would qualify for this. There's childcare support available to those who qualify. So those who qualify means that you would fill out a DHS application. And even if you were denied by DHS, there's still some availability for us to help you pay. So this is something that we do in partnership with the Greater Dubuque Development Corporation to provide this childcare at no cost while students are in class. And this also includes if you're doing anything that requires, for example, those like observation hours that you would need to do for the child care class, or on-the-job training, or earn and learn hours that you would be doing for any of those hours qualify as well. And then after you complete the program, if you're working in the industry for up to 12 months, there's kind of a step down support as well. So going from 100% down over 12 months to continue to support while you're working in the industry. So if you have children and starting a program, especially in the evening, if you're taking a lot of our classes are in the evening, this is something that's really good support to make sure that that's not a barrier for you. So if you already have childcare at a licensed provider, this is something that we can offer, or we do have a partnership with Steeple Square in Dubuque to offer, especially those evening hours that are not easy to find. So definitely talk to your coach about that if you're interested.
Now, I'll add on to that a little bit. Kara, we try to make that pretty pain-free, right? So that can kind of be sort of complicated, like paperwork to get in with a certain facility, but we're here to help with that, and we've seen some pretty significant success with that. So if childcare is a specific barrier, if you're thinking, I really can't do this because childcare will just be sort of unmanageable, or I won't be able to find a place for my child to go, my child's banging on the door behind me, then we'll help with that. And we have a lot of parents that do these programs. And once it's all set up, the bills literally get sent directly to NICC. It's pretty hassle-free. If we're paying for it, we take care of it. We have an arrangement directly with your childcare provider. So we work to make that feasible for working adults.
Auspicious timing with the child. So a couple of questions have come in. Let's see, first one, going back to phlebotomy, do I still have enough time to get enrolled in the class if it's only a month away? Maria, do you want to touch on that specifically? The answer is yes, but.
Yeah. Yes, you still have enough time to enroll in a class. If you are seeking for tuition assistance, I would say the sooner the better, to get connected with one of the coaches so that we can get the process going, as there is a prerequisite that students will need to complete, such as the interview process that Shara talked about earlier, and also the assessment, which takes between 2.5 to 3 hours, and that is needed in order to move forward with tuition.
So yes, I would recommend definitely making sure you get in touch with us right away and start on those steps. Another question, is the child care off-site? So I can't answer that one right now. We don't have any childcare on site at NICC. I mean, they do have childcare at the Calmer and the Piasta campuses, but those not directly linked with the Opportunity Dubuque program. But Steeple Square is just, I don't know, a mere few blocks away from the Dubuque Center. So if you are taking a class, for example, culinary or childcare or phlebotomy, or, you know, a majority of the non-advanced manufacturing classes are down in the Dubuque area. So it's very close. It's not directly on site though. But the partner that we do have is nearby. Otherwise, again, you can use any licensed either in-home or daycare center provider would be DHS licensed, could benefit from those funds. Let's see. Definitely interested in financial assistance. Thank you for touching on that. Okay, we'll kind of recap that in just a minute. I do not have my driver's license. Will I still be able to enroll in the CDL class? Josh, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, thanks, Shara. That's a good question. Thanks for bringing it up. Yes, you would have to have your driver's license along with your commercial learner's permit 2 weeks prior to class. So yeah, driver's license is something that you'd want to get. And it's also, you know, something that NICC can help you with. We have a driver education program. So if maybe you're kind of lacking experience in that regard, we have instructors that can help you behind the wheel of one of our vehicles and get you to that point where you feel comfortable testing too. So keep that in mind as far as needing a driver's license. Yep.
There was another one related to transportation we can cover while we still have you. Do I need to have my own truck to complete the CDL class?
Yeah, good question. So you don't need to have your own truck. We have 2 instructors that kind of help us out with these CDL programs, and one of them, you know, allows us to use his trucks, and not only in the training that you'll get with the class itself, but he'll let you, you know, as being a part and member of this class, he'll let you use his vehicles to test at a DOT testing location as well. So, and you'll get multiple chances, you know, if it comes to that too. So good question.
Okay, a few more at this point, and then we still have a few more slides to get to. Once I complete the certification, will NICC connect me with a job within the field? I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, so I'll hold off on that. I have 2 years of culinary training in a career center program offered at my high school. Would you say this is a similar level of training? Mike, that was your slide. Do you want to attempt that one, or?
What I'd like to do to answer that the best I can is I'd actually like to maybe contact the instructor and maybe relay that question and then come back. That's a fantastic question. I hate to give an exact answer to it because I'm not sure. If you have already 2 years, that's great. I would say that though this program, at least offhand, I mean, it does encompass everything. I mean, did your program have customer service built into it? You know, do you have a certificate as well? Those are some advantages with this. is that with the culinary, you'll have certification and you'll have kind of front and back of the house training, and it'll update your skills. I'm not sure how long ago you had your training. It sounds like you have a really good start. That's fantastic. But yeah, maybe if I could get your email address and then get back a hold of you that way and try to better answer your question.
The other thing I would add to that, Mike, too, is just like local connections. Like you were talking about the instructors, and we didn't, even in advanced manufacturing, I didn't mention the instructors, but we have really good instructors. That's particularly, especially true with that culinary class, those two instructors. And so the local connections, a lot of students go on to work a little bit with the instructors, even part-time for their catering business. So foot in the door, things like that, especially if it's been a little bit since you had those 2 years, and or they were out of area, and if you're in a new town, if you're here now and you come from somewhere else, it would be a foot in that industry, here locally. So there'd be reasons to still consider it, I think.
That's a good point.
Yes, our instructors are very well connected, I would say, for networking opportunities, both on the south end and the north end, up in some of our centers up there. So, but yeah, I mean, with you get Serve Safe and some of those other specific trainings, but just the knowledge of working with those professional chefs as well. Let's see, another question. I might have missed this, but with phlebotomy, is there a high demand? Is there job placement? So I'm actually going to go on to that with this slide right here. So just kind of to emphasize a little bit more about the role of the coaches. Part of our connection with you is job placement, is employment coaching as well. Of course, we don't have any guarantees whatsoever, of course, with placing you in a specific job or with a specific employer. We do have employers who we've worked with to develop the programs, and they know the value of what our students learn in the programs. And if they have positions, they're willing to interview. And we do have business partners that support, students in additional trainings and different additional opportunities. But we really work with you one-on-one with employment coaching. If there's something that you would want to explore a little bit more with soft skills, preparing interview skills, resume, anything like that, that's definitely something that we do. But we also would provide you with some contacts. So like we said, the instructors have a lot of connections. Our program developers have some good connections. We can kind of give you some places to start with, and we can work with you in making those. And we work with you for up to a year after the program. So even once you're kind of in the job, if there's something that you're really struggling with, some skills that you feel you need to work on a little bit more, or just some, working with you and the employer on anything, that's something that we do. I mean, we do have a high placement rate. Within a year, a significantly high number of our students are employed in the field. So we do everything that we can is within our ability to help you with that. So let's see, any other questions? The Career Center I was a part of was Northland Career Center in Platte City, Missouri. Okay, so Mike, if you want to, I think Mike probably be the best bet to follow up with you on that. So, and there is I'll actually go to that screen now just to make it clear, but there is a survey, and I'm going to put it in the chat box here as well. If you fill out that survey, then Mike will have your contact information. So if you click on this link, if you want to click on it right now and just have it open on your screen or on your computer so that you know that you have it, or you can always get it from us later, of course. But just so you know that that's a really good way to make sure that we have your contact information. And if you fill it in, give us a little bit of feedback, and your address, of course, we'll send you a free NSCC t-shirt. So if that's a motivation for you at all. Yeah, so if you want to connect with Mike, I think he would really be a good, good connection for you to get some of those questions answered. Let's see, did I miss any questions in the chat box?
I'll jump in quick there.
Yeah.
We'd like to talk about the FAE&T grant, and this might be a good time. So in addition to normal funding from state and local dollars, there are federal dollars through the Food Assistance and Education Training Grant in the Department of Agriculture. So if you are receiving food assistance within the state of Iowa, it is easier for us to find dollars to fund your program. And if we fund you, we get half of those dollars back from the federal government to fund more students. And so we do like to tap into that grant. So if you are receiving food assistance, it does make it easier to fund your GAP application and to find dollars to support you if you meet basic income guidelines. And if we think you'll be successful, if you're receiving food assistance, it's a relatively easy way to support you during the program. And there's actually additional dollars we can use to support you. You needed gas cards or that kind of thing to get to and from class. So if you're receiving food assistance, these programs are a real good fit if you're looking to upskill.
Yeah, and Maxie, I appreciate you talking about this. Since you have a background, this could make you a perfect fit for this program to sharpen your skills, so to speak. And yeah, absolutely. Just check out the contact information. If I get your email, you can email me. We'll look further into your question. It's a fantastic question, but this could be a perfect program for you since you already have a background in it. It could give you that little extra step up.
Definitely. Thank you. I don't see any more questions in the chat box right now. So just kind of want to go back to this process. So again, meeting with a coach, this is what we walk you through all the way from first paperwork and making sure you understand all aspects of the program. And then the tuition assistance, if you're interested in any funding for that, and then the required steps to get all the way through and enrolled in the program, fully supporting you while you're in the program, making sure any barriers you have to do with transportation, childcare, just different things that we can refer you to different community partners. We have connections with numerous community partners, both in the Dubuque area and on the north end, that can help you with anything that's kind of putting you at risk for not being able to complete the program. We really want to make sure that we support you all the way through. And then, as I said, with that employment aspect as well, starting even while you're still in the class, starting to look at different employment options and making connections with you. So I'm just gonna go to the final slide. So these are contact information if you want to jot anything down. So Mike Kamal, who's the evening coach, and kind of would help out with maybe a little bit more of that culinary and childcare and stuff he talks about. But any of us can help you with any of the programs. There's no reason to think that you called the wrong person or emailed the wrong person. We can all help you or get you to the right place for sure. Again, I'm Shara. I specialize in those earn and learn things, but any of the programs. And then Samaria, who is speaking on quite a few of the slides. And then up on the north end, if you do have anyone who's in the Kalmar area, the north end of the district, we call it for NICC, certainly reach out to Josh, and he can help get you started on that process. So yeah, any last questions? Looks like Jordan and McKenna are kind of contacting there. So yeah, so any of these contact information you want to, of course, you can find this on our website as well. It's not like your last opportunity to get hold of us. That 844-642-2338 number will kind of get you into our system, and then you can always get to us through the operator or whatever if you need to. And then, yeah, I guess just one more chance, make sure you click on that link in the chat box if you're interested in having us contact you, send you a free t-shirt, make sure, and give us some feedback. If there's something that you think we should cover that we didn't, or something that you thought was particularly helpful, we'd love to hear that from you as well. Otherwise, we'll just kind of hang out for a few minutes in case there's any more questions, but we really appreciate you joining us tonight, and we'd really love to hear from you to make sure that we can help you to get into the program of your choice. And especially if it's coming up here, in July or August, please make sure you contact us very, very quickly. Thank you.
Nice job.
Looks like I'm just going to try to see. Looks like they're asking for phone number just one more time.